Okay, welcome everyone to our first virtual open house for our PhD program. My name is Genevieve Sauvé. I'm a professor here at Case Western Reserve University. And I'll tell you a little bit more about myself a little later, but I am a materials chemist and I am also a co-chair of the Graduate Missions Committee.
And my name is Fu Sen Liang. I'm an associate professor in the chemistry department. And my research field is in chemical biology. And I'm also co-chair of the graduate admission committee. So welcome everyone.
All right, next slide.
See, okay.
So if you don't know, we are located in Cleveland, Ohio, which is right by the Great Lake Erie. So we're part of the Great Lakes region. The population is about 385,000 people. The greater Cleveland, though, is 2 million. It's the home of the famous Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And apparently, and I agree, it's one of the hottest cities in America to live in, according to Forbes. Next slide. And it is a very friendly social Midwest city. This is an example of one of the many places where you can go out and eat out when there's no pandemic. Next slide. Also downtown Cleveland, there's a lot of entertainment. There's the Playhouse Square where there's like 5 top-notch theaters that you can go to. Next slide.
Yeah, and if you are a sports fan, we have all the like professional sports team. We are pretty good when LeBron was still here. And our baseball team made a playoff almost most of the year in the past few years. We also have a football team, hockey team, and if you like outdoor, we have a very good metro park system. We have over 20,000 acres in 18 different locations, and they're all pretty close. It's not like you need to drive 1 hour. We have one like 10 minutes from where I live. And Case Western Reserve University is in the university circle, and we have many very good museum. And if you like music, Cleveland Symphony Orchestra is here, and world-class hospital. It's all around our campus.
So Case Western Reserve University is a middle-sized private university. We're talking about 5,000 undergrads, 6,000 graduate and professional students, and about 3,000 faculty member. So it's been rated top 20 of private universities based on federal R&D expenditures. It's a very diverse campus, over 90 countries represented, and diversity also in terms of Black and white, and in terms of it's apparently a top 25 in LGBT friendly, and it's got a very low ratio of faculty to student, 10:1. Next slide.
And we are ranked 11th in the most influential in science and in the nation. That's kind of describe how impactful our research are. And also there are 17 Nobel Prize laureate are connected to Case Western Reserve University. We have over 30 inducted National Academy member, and we here are some example. We have the first American scientist to be awarded Nobel Prize, and there are 3 directly kind of connected to chemistry or Case Western, and they won chemistry award. One is George Ola is in our department, used to be in our department. Okay.
So here's a picture of part of the Case Western where chemistry located here right in the middle. And whoops, not so fast, back. And what's really cool about what you can notice here is that very close, right to the right, is a series of buildings that's all engineering. So it's within 5-minute walk. Next to chemistry, we have in this turquoise macromolecular science and engineering right next door. And right across the street is the medical school. So everything is very close together, which encourages collaboration, which is something I really like about CASE. Next slide. Our department, this is a picture a few years ago of our department. We are relatively on the small side. We have about 60 PhD students, 14 research active faculty, with a low student ratio of 5:1 student to faculty. So we really care about our students here at Case Western.
And this is a list of the current research active faculty. There are two major kind of field that we are working on. One is in chemical biology. We have Professor Solomon, myself, Professor Tatrop. We are all working in this pharmaceutical medicinal chemistry area. With Professor Tober and Zagorski, they are structural biologists, and we have Professor Lee working in biochemistry, study enzyme mechanism.
And on this energy and materials side more, we have top right, we have Dr. Scherson, who's well-known electrochemist and also surface scientist. He likes to study batteries and fuel cell. Then lower right, we have our two inorganic chemists, Dr. Protasevich, known for his phosphorus chemistry, and Dr. Gray, also very known for his gold chemistry. Then we have our newest faculty is Dr. Parker. He's computation and he does spectroscopy as well, computational spectroscopy. And then there's me here where I do conjugated polymers and with applications in solar energy conversion.
And we also have Professor Crespo, Berda, and Samia. They are working in both areas. Their research is truly interdisciplinary. And we have some example of our latest research.
So here's an example of my research on the left. One of our big projects is to develop electron acceptors for organic photovoltaics. So we've made these new molecules called azodipyromethane-based complexes that are very unique in that they are three-dimensional and they can conduct electrons in all directions, and they're easy to synthesize and have isotropic charge transfer. So we have one really good recent article here in Journal of Materials Chemistry A, which has a high impact factor of 11. On the right is Dr. Crespo's research. He does photochemistry, ultrafast spectroscopy, and computation. And he does a lot of cool stuff. He recently have an important paper here in Nature Communication 2020, where they study mechanistic studies relevant to the induction of skin cancer. So the title of that particular paper is Detection of the Thionine Precursor in the UVA formation of the DNA 6,4 photoadduct.
And here are some examples of our chemical biology research. On the left, Professor Tober, their lab are working on RNA structural biology. They study the viral host interaction, including HIV and this COVID. And here's one example published this year in Nature Communication. They are studying this iris and they screen small molecule and figure out how this molecule will induce conformational change and effective biological effect. And on the right, Professor Samia, their research is on nanomaterial, and they made this for energy and biomedical application. One example is it's published this year in ACS Applying Nanomaterial. They developed this photoactivated gold nanoparticle as antibacterial biofilms. So working in case, you are not really just applied to chemistry department. I mean, the resource is not just limited in chemistry department. It's a very collaborative environment. You interact with a lot of people that actually outside the chemistry department, and there's various community. For example, in the side of chemical biology, we are kind of interact with people from Cleveland Clinic, University Hospital, VA, medical center, RN center. So there's a lot of collaboration going around here.
Same with in the fields of energy and materials. We leverage university-wide and regional resources. That includes, of course, the Case School of Engineering and the Department of Physics. I'm personally myself have a lot of collaborations there. We also have the Great Lakes Energy Institute on campus. Nearby, near the airport is the NASA Glenn Research Center. And then, of course, there's the local industries such as Lubrizol and Sherwin-Williams.
And actually, in Case Western, if you search, there are actually over or close to 60 different core facilities that are all open to everyone. Of course, on the you need to pay, but it's not limited to any particular department. And here are some of the facility that's available in chemistry department. We have 500 megahertz NMR. We have state-of-art ultra-fast laser system and mass and other equipment.
Located in engineering is one of the top surface analysis lab in the country. It's called the Swagelok Center. It's home to very high-tech SEM, TEM, XPS, and surface analysis. And it's actually run by like 6 engineers to help you. Next. Another important center that especially important for my research is the Materials for Optoelectronic Research and Education Center, or the MORE Center. It's another multidisciplinary, multi-user facilities. We have this gigantic glove box system here to make photovoltaics, light emitting diodes and transistors and test them. We also, of course, have a lot of other resources. For example, in macro, we have MALDI TUF MS and many polymer characterization tools. And we also have the high performance computing, which is very useful for computation. And Erica might tell us a little bit more about that. And then I'd like to point out the small molecule drug delivery core facility, which can screen a lot of small molecules.
And also we have the state-of-the-art structural facility, cryo-EM, and X-ray. You can solve crystal structure, and we have 800, 900 megahertz NMR in the Cleveland Center for membrane and structural biology. And we also have various kind of core facility, include this one showing here, that you have a lot of equipment for biological research. For example, confocal microscope, there are cell sorting facility, cell culture facility, and we have a GMP certified cell therapy center. And we also have this Sears Think box that allow you to kind of use the resource there, a lot of 3D printing. You can kind of design your own research tool or just design something for fun. And this is open to everyone.
All right, now let's talk a little bit more about the graduate students. So when you come here at Case Western, you are guaranteed financial support for up to 5 years, and that's usually in the form of either a TA or IRA. So just to give you an idea, the current first year this year are getting about $27,500 a year, and healthcare at the university is reimbursed 100%. So you don't have to worry about that. So now, all our first years typically TA and take courses, and So when you TA the first year, that's usually about 20 hours a week is the expectation, and some work in the laboratory with students and some grade. So those are the typical TA responsibilities. And then once you are in a research group, if your advisor has a grant money, you can be supported by the grants on a RA. And if you don't have that luck, then you can continue to TA as well. So during the first semester, the way we've been doing this so far during the first semester is that faculty talk about their research, and the first year students talk to various up to 5 faculty members and talk to their students and make choices: first choice, second choice, third choice. And then those choices are given to the faculty. They give their choices, and then a committee does some kind of matching, and so we try to have a one-to-one match when it's possible. We usually try to accommodate the first choice from the student, but there are a few times when it doesn't work out. So this is how we've been doing it. I know that our department is currently really seriously thinking about introducing some kind of rotation so that there's a good chance that this following this new class will have the opportunity to do some rotation. Case Western really cares about safety, both in the laboratories, that's number one, and also with this pandemic with COVID-19, we've taken a lot of precautions. My graduate students are working in the laboratory right now, but the university went through everywhere in the university and said, okay, here you can have so many students, here you can have so many students, everybody's wearing masks. Everybody has access to things to clean and stuff. So it's been a very safe environment. Last thing I saw is that Case Western only had 47 cases so far. So very, very few. If we're doing really well, I think. So my graduate students are still doing research, of course, but safely. And I think personally that there's no safer place than being in a chemistry lab, because with all these fume hoods, we have lots of air circulation.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Graduate student outcomes. So most of our students graduate after 4 to 5 years. And most of them go in industrial positions or take on a postdoc positions right after graduating. And some of our students do go on to take faculty positions later on. And here I have just a few examples of places where our graduate students have gone. For example, the first one is went to do a faculty in overseas. We have many people who got postdocs in places like Caltech, Stanford, St. Jude Children's Hospital, also National Lab like Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. We have here's another student. She was in Dr. Samya's group. She went to Owens Corning, which is industry. Some of my students, like Forrest, 2016, took a postdoc position at Chicago first, and now he's at Nano Pattern Technology. Here to the right, we have Jim Heckler from Gray Group. He's now at Air Force Research Laboratory, that's in Dayton, Ohio. And we also have students that go in things that are not related to chemistry. For example, Cassie Detario, who was in my group, she's now working at Global Prior Art, doing patent law in the chemistry area. So there's a lot of opportunities, I think. Our students go on to do great things.
Okay, so next, I want to quickly go through how you apply, and you can get more information also from our website. And the due date for full consideration is January 15th, 2021. And as January already introduced, you will get full financial support up to 5 years. And the application will, of course, require you to fill out the application form, and you will need to write a statement. And typically, you need to talk about like why you want to get a PhD degree in chemistry, why you consider our department, and what's your research interest, experience and you will include a CV, 3 letters of recommendation, and an official transcript when you apply. But when the offer is made, we will require you to have official transcript, and we don't require GRE. And most importantly, the application is free, so we really encourage everyone to apply.
So one thing that I would like to point out, this January 15 is not an actual deadline. It's when we start looking at all the applications. So that's why we say for full consideration. So, and we continue to evaluate applications until our class is full of highly qualified students. So that's just, so if you want full consideration, we highly encourage you to apply before January 15. Now, it's when we do review the applicants, we have a very holistic approach. We do look at that statement because we want to have good match, right? And we do look at those letter of recommendations and everything, and we take into account the whole picture, not just one or two things. And part of the reason we don't take GRE anymore is because they don't really predict success in graduate school very well, and they cost money. So we don't want to have any financial barrier to applying to our university on our program. All right.
Uh, so I want to introduce two of our current graduate students. Natalie is in Professor Samia's group, and Erica is in Professor Parker's group. They can share some of their experience with you guys, and all of us will answer your question. Okay, so Erica and Natalie.
Okay. Hi. I guess I'll start. I'm Natalie Milbright. As Dr. Liang said, I am a student in Dr. Simia's group. I am in my third year of the PhD program now. Before coming to CASE, I grew up in Strongsville, which is about a half an hour away from here. And then I did my undergrad at Ohio State, and then I came directly from undergrad to here. So I didn't do a master's or anything like that beforehand. Let's see. So in addition to my research with Dr. Samia's group, I'm also the president of the Chemistry Grad Student Association. Through this program, we offer travel scholarships for students so that you're able to attend conferences, and then we also host social events as well as professional development events. For example, tonight for the grad students in our department, we're hosting a virtual trivia night, so super excited about that. And yeah, my research is really fun. We do research with nanomaterials, both in the biomedical side as well as the materials side. We do a lot of collaborations, both with Cleveland Clinic, as well as we have collaborations with the civil engineering department and Lubrizol. So really balancing and being very diverse in our research. And we'll let Erica go now.
Hello, my name's Erica Miller. I am a second year grad student in the Parker Research Group, and I'm actually also a Ohio native. I grew up an hour east of Cleveland in Amish country. So I came to Cleveland for my undergraduate education at right down the road at Cleveland State University. Took a break in between that and grad school, worked for 3 years at PPG Industries in Cleveland, and then came back. And now I am a computational photochemist. So it's been a bit of a change, but it's very fun. We also are very collaborative focused because there's a nice synergy between computation and an experiment that my group kind of tries to emphasize. So I have a couple collaborative projects I'm working on, both within and outside of our chemistry department. So yeah, it's very good.
All right. We're going to open up for questions. So please feel free to raise your hand or speak up.
Should I stop sharing?
I have a question.
Yes.
For Natalie or Erica or either of you, if you want to answer or both, when you were deciding where to go to grad school, what was the biggest factor that led you to Case Western?
The best advice that I heard when it came to choosing where you wanted to go to for school was that you could see yourself working with several different faculty members at that university, because you never really know how the matching process will go until you're there. So go in knowing that you could see yourself working with like 3 to 5 of the professors there. And then once you get there, knowing. And additionally, I just really loved Cleveland. I grew up here. It's nice having family around so that I do have that support system in grad school, because grad school is hard. So finding little ways to balance that and make it easier is definitely suggested as well. Erica, do you have anything to add?
Stole my answers. No, I think that's right. I mean, like I said, I definitely love Cleveland very much. So I was very happy that I could stay here. But the cases, the diversity of the offerings and different research groups attracted me, and I, like Natalie said, I was interested in several different groups before I picked mine.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Erica.
Hi,
I am Pragati Sani from India.
very good to meet you.
I would like to ask what kind of students they accept in your university, in your department?
What kind of students?
Yes,
Are you
What do
talking
you
about,
mean?
could you be more specific?
I mean, if I come to in the department of organic synthesis,
Mhm.
then what will be the hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we can hear you.
listening.
Yeah, what will be the requirement or like?
I can't really, I don't know if I'm aware of specific.
So once you're
Requirements.
accepted and you come here, we typically make you take take a few exams, ACS exams, and then we recommend taking courses. So the first year you are taking courses. So if we find that you need more help with physical chemistry or inorganic chemistry, we then you have to take a course and get a B or better. If you're really good at everything, then you can do whatever you want with the courses. So because we have some kind of basic knowledge. So the first year you find an advisor. The second year you have an oral exam where you present and defend your research. So it's a 20-minute talk and then lots of questions. Fourth year you give a talk to the department, and typically fifth year you hopefully defend your PhD and graduate. So I'm not sure if that's answering your question. We're looking for a diverse group, strong students that are a good match for us. And once we have you here, we really care that you will succeed. So that is one of the big thing about us. We're not huge, and so we care about every one of our students.
Okay. And how many seats available in the department for the international students?
So these days we try to be about half international, half domestic. The entrant class is probably going to be 10 to 12 this year.
Okay.
So yeah. To tell you the truth, our current class last year, we had accepted several international students who ended up not being able to come because of visa issues. So I hope that this will be different this year.
Yeah, it's not just visa. Some are concerned about the COVID situation in US.
Well, yeah, that's mainly that.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
But we
Thank you.
welcome people with diverse background and come.
We do have students from India right now, so we like
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I saw your pages for the students who are doing PhD in your department recently. So I was also uh, looking for your page, Dr. Savi,
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
and I am impressed. I am impressed for the research you are doing.
Thank you. Well, we do have another, we have a raised hand here. Oliver, would you like to ask your question?
Hi, I'm Oliver Pichardo from the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras. I'm from Puerto Rico, and the language of instruction in here is Spanish. I took the only course that I think of chemistry that I took in English was inorganic chemistry. In that case, do I need to show TOEFL results in my application or no?
I don't think you need to from Puerto Rico because you're part of the US. I
Yeah,
might.
for our international students, we need to have TOEFL score of over 90, but I think Puerto Rico is
Yeah, we have several students from Puerto Rico, so I'd be happy to connect you to some of them. Or we also have a faculty from Puerto Rico, Dr. Carlos Crespo, who can also answer some of those questions. I mean, if your institution does not teach in English, I mean, typically our TOEFL score is 90 and above, but I do not know. I'm sorry. I would, if you can send me, I can write down your name and then we can get you that answer. Okay. I'll write down your name. And then, so Oliver.
I also have another question regarding the statement of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in the slide that you were showing it's I know it's one page. But like what do you want to see in that personal statement to make it like very appealing and
Mm-hmm.
to show that you are a strong candidate for your department?
Mm-hmm. All right. So these statements are 1 to 2 pages. So a lot of people have up to 2 pages. We want to see what you're
इसको
interested
क्या
in.
लिखेंगे कि इसमें भी कुछ
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So typically in these statements, people talk about their research experience, and we also look for which groups they're interested in our department. So we look for information about the experiences, like especially research experience, teaching experience, and whether they've thought about uh, Case Western and chemistry, whether there are some faculty members there that they're interested in. And Fusan, you want to add some things to that?
Yeah, usually I'm looking for is really we try to see what's your research experience in the past and what's your future interest, and we a lot of time try to see if you do your homework, you study the department at school, right? There must be a reason why you want to come here, and so yeah, that's basically what we are trying to see. So we want to know what your interest, and we want to make sure you will find the right group here that match your interests.
Because we don't want somebody to come here and then not be able to find a good place for them. So that would be the worst case scenario. So we want to avoid that. We care about all our students. See here Luke has a question. He says, what part of your research shows the most promise or the most exciting to work on? So maybe Natalie or Erica, would you like to say something about which part of your research shows the most promise or is the most exciting to work on?
I guess for me, the most exciting part of my research is continuing on with that paper that you mentioned earlier that came out from our group this year, the using gold nanorods as an anti-biofilm applications in knee and hip implants. So we first developed this treatment in just on metal implant discs. And now with collaborations through Cleveland Clinic, we are moving into actually doing animal testing with these. So starting in, I think, January or February, we'll actually be having those in rabbits. So carrying out the project from like beginning to like actually real world applications is really exciting for me. And I enjoy seeing the progress that it's made. And granted, this project started before I even joined the group, like probably 5 or 6 years before I started the group. So I haven't seen the entirety of it yet, but it's really cool to see everything coming to fruition now and just how it's advancing.
Cool.
So yeah.
What about you, Erica? What do you find exciting or?
Yeah, so well, I'm in a bit of a different space because I just actually passed my orals. So now I'm kind of getting back full into research endeavors. But right now, what I'm really enjoying is just looking around and seeing what people are up to and where I can come alongside them and help out. So I'm currently working with a group in the macro engineering or I apologize, I can't remember what the
Micromolecular science and engineering.
Thank you. It's a long title, but they are working on trying to synthesize this new material, and we've been doing some really cool work, coming alongside and helping them. It's this graphite material, and so it's kind of unknown. It's never been synthesized before, so we're trying to figure out, kind of both experimentally and computationally, what are the stacking modes, how are these sheets of graphite arranging themselves, and it's just one interesting finding after another. So that's been, hopefully we can get a paper out on that here pretty soon, and so that's been very exciting for me lately.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
I did computational chemistry for my undergraduate studies. So can I know what are the opportunities in that field?
Opportunities specifically in
In research specific.
So in the chemistry department, Dr. Parker is the only
100% computation.
100% computationalist. I know the Crespo group does some computational support for their photochemistry, I believe. And I believe the Gray group does as well. Please, if I'm
maybe Erica, you can tell what's your name? Sulati? Sorry. Maybe Sulalit. Yes, maybe you can tell him some of the other projects in your group that.
Sure. So currently it's just me. We have one other graduate student besides me, and then we have a postdoc. So we are focusing in on building computational tools to support photochemistry is sort of the main emphasis of our group. Although, like I mentioned, we're supporting a non-photochemical endeavor right now. But the heart of the group is building tools for photochemistry. So for me personally, my research is involved in simulating photochemical dynamics simulations and building improved tools to do those simulations better. My group mate is working on building tools to speed up those types of calculations, so we can apply lengthy, computationally expensive calculations to bigger and bigger molecules. I can get into more specifics if you would like, but that's kind of an overview.
I think that's great. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions about program or the research lab in the department?
Or just living in Cleveland or?
So if you guys think of questions later on, my email address is on our group website. I think Erica's email address is also on her group website. So you guys can feel free to reach out to either of us too with more questions if you have in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I have a question regarding Cleveland. Now
Mhm.
that I heard that someone mentioned about it, how was the process of finding apartments over there?
I'm going to let the students answer that question.
Sorry, what was the question?
How was the process of finding an apartment in Cleveland?
For me, it wasn't too bad. I live in Little Italy, so I walk to class each day. I really like living in Little Italy. It's great being by all the restaurants and stuff, so it's been really fun. I would suggest if you are looking for different apartments in Cleveland, the best luck that I had was on Craigslist. They had the most variety, or apartments.com also had a lot of options. So those would be my two recommendations. And I enjoy living close to campus so that I can walk, but I know other people live in Cleveland Heights and drive to campus each day. So it really just also based on your preference. If you live in Cleveland Heights, you can probably get a larger apartment for the same price, but Little Italy is such a historical area that apartments are very tiny there. And like my apartment doesn't have washer and dryer, so that's kind of annoying, but thankfully I have family nearby, so I can just go do laundry at home. And yeah, it's like really fun, but sometimes the apartments are small and old, so it really just depends on what you value, whether you want to live close to campus or further away and drive in.
And I don't know if you mentioned it, but what was the price range for rent over there?
I think roughly the price range I've seen is like around 800 to 1,000 for a 1 bedroom.
Hmm.
So,
I thought it was a little cheaper, but 600 or 700. I think
yeah,
my
you could
grad
probably find
Forest
something.
had Forest had a 2 bedroom for 700. What about you, Erica? What's your experience?
I don't know if I'm too good to ask since I have lived in Cleveland for
Oh yeah.
a while now. I actually live out in Euclid, one of the suburbs, which is very nice. I'm a big fan. And there's some nicer apartments out here as well. It is a 20-minute drive in though. So again, you just gotta pick and choose what you like. But yeah, I think there's
Mhm.
there is one thing that I've recently stumbled upon is that I kind of think is cool is there is this Know Your Neighbor campaign on CASE where they try and make students feel more like sort of like more incorporated into the community. So I think the communities surrounding CASE are being very nice and trying to be intentional about being good neighbors to students. So I just thought that was a nice
And
little-
yeah, if you look at the chat, Oliver, our administrator assistant Sarah, she just posted a link. It's for international students, but anybody living in Cleveland. It's a good resource for international students looking to live in Cleveland, or for other people in the U.S. who are not familiar with Cleveland. I don't think that it's very difficult, and I know that once you're accepted here, you can contact us and we'll help you as well.
Yeah, I think it's very affordable compared to many big cities.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask the question
Mhm.
about the requirements.
Yes.
As I saw the score of the in for the IELTS is 7. Can
What is the score of 7?
IELTS
IELTS.
IELTS
Yeah, I think it's
Oh. Okay.
International
Yes.
English Language Test
Yeah.
Exam.
Yeah. Either that or the TOEFL 90. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Can it the score be up or down in the requirement of your university?
Well, for example, the TOEFL and the ITIS you're talking about, that is a requirement for the graduate studies. So if you're an international student, you have to have a TOEFL or of 90 and above or 7 and above. Otherwise, you cannot come in the program at all. So that's like the baseline from the graduate studies.
Yes, it's set by the university.
Yeah, so we don't have control over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep. Somebody else had a question.
Yeah, I have a little question.
Yes.
I did for my undergraduate protein simulation, molecular dynamics simulation. So I want to know about in your university there is any opportunities to do that kind of research, protein simulation stuffs. Biomolecular simulations.
I don't know. I know Tolbert does some calculations and simulations, but I'm not if anybody else has it.
I don't think we in the department we have any lab that specifically focus on doing that. Many group like Professor Tolbert's group and my group, we sometimes will do some simulation, but it's kind of help a part of our research. It's not really a focus. I don't know, maybe Professor Parker's group.
I don't think so.
In the future.
Yeah.
And then
No.
we are more on the material side, energy material side of things.
And method development, I think, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
And I see in the chat that Sarah also posted another link for prospective students and international applicant resources. Any other questions from anyone? Well,
if you have any question after this meeting,